Hey, this is James from All Hail Internal Combustion. We're working on a clutch job in a 1995 Ford F-150, and I noticed this on the Crossmember last night. Obviously, what happened is somebody decided not to even bother tightening the transmount bolt up to the crossmember. Rode it around for a while and cracked it. So what I'm going to do, just to save us from having to run to the junkyard, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to beat this down clean and go ahead and clean my crack out real good. Put a nice heavy weld on both sides of this. And as you can see from the part number, this is a typical cross member. It's for the 4.9, 5.0, 5.8, and obviously it's for the M5 OD transmission, which is the 4-speed with the overdrive on it, 2-wheel drive cross member. I mean, it's nice that they put all that information on there, just so you know when you go to a junkyard you can go ahead and grab the same thing as long as it's stamped the same. But for right now, I got to go ahead and clean all this mess up and see if I can get a decent weld to lay in there. And when we put it back together, I'll probably put some nice big washers onto it. This is just a work truck. It's got a straight 6 in it. It doesn't do a lot of really heavy hauling, so I can fix this by welding it. And as you can see over here, they left these bolts loose too. So the whole thing was most likely shifting around, and it's causing a lot of issues just because somebody was too incompetent to tighten the bolts up. Nice. Be back. Now, the first thing that I did here was that this back section here was sitting up way higher because of the way it's separated. So what I did is I brought these down even. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a cutoff wheel and I'm going to cut myself a trench in here and clean these breakages up a little bit. Make sure that I'm sitting nice and flat, and I'll bring the welder out here and lay in my bead on this side. Then I'll go ahead and I'll flip it over and I'll do the same thing to the other side, but I'll bring you back after I'm done cleaning this area up. Okay, so I went ahead and I ground myself down in here where I'm going to be putting my weld at. And these holes, when I flipped it over on the other side, these are where my cracks are ending at. So I had one coming up through here. I had another one that was starting to tail off over here. I had the one down here at the end. In order to keep a crack from running, usually you want to drill a hole at the end of the crack. That kind of gives it a stopping point. It's not guaranteeing that it won't crack again, but it's just like a precaution, and it usually does work. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to weld this side up, and I'll bring you back when I'm done that. Alright, and that's what I ended up with after I got done grinding everything back down. And the reason you want to do your V-notch in there is so that way you're not just putting your weld on top of your metal. You want it to actually penetrate into it. That way when you do grind it down, you're not taking away what you just put on there. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over on the other side, do the same thing, chamfer out the crack, and weld it up. Alright, so there we go. I got the other side all cleaned up and ground down, and I'm going to go ahead and hit this thing with a coat of primer on both sides and coat of black paint on both sides, and call this one as good as done. So this was James from All Hail Internal Combustion. How to fix your crack. See y'all.